What's up, everybody? Welcome to our channel, Honest Hockey Takes. I'm Hohen and this is Scott. Today we'll be doing a video about the weekly recap and review. And to start off with everything, Scott is going to present the 3 stars of the week.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you guys who we felt was the 3 most valuable players this week. And as our 3rd star, we had Matty Beniers from the Seattle Kraken. This one was kind of insane. This guy's a rookie, and in 3 games, he had 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points, and was +5 for his team, along with winning every single one of the games they played for Seattle. Like, what an impact Matty Beniers has had on this team after a dry streak early.
Good job.
Our 2nd star this week, this one kind of blew my mind as well. That was Josh Morrissey of the Winnipeg Jets. Josh Morrissey played 4 games and had 7 points as a defenseman, including, and this is probably the most wild, 2 overtime game winners. That was absolutely wild to see, and starting to think we were a little wrong on how low we had Josh Morrissey this year. And our 1st star, this one kind of irked me because I had to play against him in fantasy, is Jason Robertson from the Dallas Stars. The guy scored 6 goals this week in 4 games, added 2 assists for 8 points, and was just an absolute machine this week. Basically, the whole offense of the Dallas Stars. So good job, Jason.
The best. Awesome. And now I'm going to start out with the biggest winners of the week. And at number 1, we have the New York Islanders, who went 4-0 this week, which is absolutely insane. They had contribution throughout the whole lineup, which is absolutely bonkers. Like anyone from Ryan Pulock to Noah Dobson to Zach Parise to Barzal, everyone chipped in. Everyone was firing on all cylinders. You know, this team really surprised me. I did not think, hey, if you look at my season prediction, I did not have this team very high on the standings. But man, one of the big reasons why was because I was uncertain about this coach. I knew nothing about this coach going into this season, so I didn't know what to expect. But man, he has proven me wrong. This team is a very deep team, a very good team. Everyone's buying in. It's good to see.
Yeah, I feel like this will be a definite I told you so moment from our first episode we recorded, but I might get the last laugh on that one. But one thing I really, other than the fact that this was a true total team effort, like you could not pick a star from this team this week, except for maybe this guy, and that's Ilya Sorokin, once again, who stood on his head, including like a almost 50 save shutout against the Edmonton Oilers this week. This guy could not be beat. He was just an absolute machine. And now on the year, he's under a 2.2 goals against average. This guy is truly in the conversation for the Vezina this year.
And yeah, I mean, Ilya Sorokin has been extremely good. Good to see. Not very surprising. We all knew Ilya Sorokin is a top 5 goaltender in this league. But it's really nice that they also have Varlamov as a backup goalie.
For a 1-2 punch, it's definitely a top 2, top 3 in the league, for sure.
Yeah.
Our next winner on the list we have is the Toronto Maple Leafs, who went 3-1 this week. And their only loss actually came against the team we just talked about, the New York Islanders. So, I mean, someone had to lose that game. Neither of these teams could both be perfect this week. So, I mean, we'll give this one to the Islanders. But overall, Toronto played a very masterful game of hockey this week, led by Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner now has 16 games in a row with a point. He's 2 games away from the all-time franchise record for longest point streak in Maple Leafs history. He has been carrying this team on his back. A lot of people going into this year ripped on him because of his contract and how much he was getting paid, and that they always said Matthews was the one carrying this team. But now I think people are starting to get to see, at least I hope they are, because this guy is not as bad as people seem to think he is. He is dominated playing with John Tavares, so people can't even use the excuse anymore that he's getting carried by Austin Matthews, because he's on a line right now with JT, and their chemistry looks unreal.
Yeah, this reminds me of like 2 to 3 years ago when they did play together, right?
And JT had career highs.
Yeah, and JT, that line was amazing. So it's good that they're putting these 2 back together. I love that game against Pittsburgh Penguins where Mitch Marner stripped that puck from Letang and then passed over to Holmberg. Is that his name?
Yeah, Holmgren, yeah.
Yeah, and scored that goal. It was a really beautiful goal to see. One of the big key to Toronto right now is, for me personally, is that number 1 defenseman right now. Because with Morgan Riley out, someone needs to step in. Is it Giordano? Can Sandin fill that spot? That's going to be the question mark for this team going forward. But it was good to see that they had such a good week. And let's see if they can keep it going.
Yeah, no, I agree. And one last shout out I'd like to give, not to drag it on too long, because we all know Toronto's a pretty good team, is Matt Murray, since his return from injury, has been fantastic. This is a guy who had a lot of question marks coming into the year. A lot of people were ripping on this goaltending tandem that they were going to have with him and Sammy. And Sammy, before he got hurt, looked good. And now that Matt Murray is healthy, he looks great too. So, I mean, I don't think it's as dire as people think. Like Cohen said, the biggest issue right now is going to be the defensive depth because they don't have a lot of it. But I really would like to shout out that Mark Giordano, the old man who took the $850,000 almost league minimum, has been fantastic for this team, and he has really stepped up.
Yep. And the next and last winner that we have for this week will be the Seattle Kraken. And it's very little surprise. This team went 3-0, and with Scott just alluded to earlier with the 3 stars, Matty Beniers had an insane week. And the game today, he had 3 points. Absolutely nuts. And on top of that, they beat teams like Vegas Golden Knights. Look at them. They're just absolutely killing it. We as of right now, I think Seattle Kraken is a very good team. But I don't know. I still am unsure whether this is going to hold. But it's good to celebrate. Right now, it's good to celebrate that they have had such a good week. They're firing on all cylinders. Bjorkstrand looked good. Eberle looked good.
Yeah, their whole top 6 really. I thought the top 6 stood out in general. Burakovsky has been like an absolute hero for this team overall. He's like at a point per game now, which he's never been in his career, no matter who he's played with, whether it was the Capitals or whether it was Colorado. He's just been unreal leading this team offensively. And now with Matty Beniers stepping up and guys like Eberle and other veterans chipping in, this team looks like they could be deeper than a lot of people anticipated. And they're fixing the biggest issue from last year, which was scoring goals. Now they can score.
Yeah, they're scoring in masses. Like, they've been scoring a crap ton of goals in this past week. And the funny thing about Seattle Kraken is that their penalty kill this last week was only 28%. So they let in 5 goals in 7 penalty kills. So their penalty killing is not good right now. But the thing is, they've been able to score so many goals on even strength to kind of eliminate that. Like, that doesn't matter to them.
Yeah, for me, I think the even strength goals is huge because, I mean, that's something more consistent than you can rely on. You can't always rely on getting a power play here and there, but you definitely rely on having good even strength play with your unit. And the top 6 and even the top 9, Yanni Gourde had a really nice week quietly too. Guy who hasn't been talked about in probably a couple years since he left Tampa, but he's been really solid. All right, and now for a more depressing note, we're going to talk about the biggest losers of the week, and that will be starting off with the Philadelphia Flyers. I know someone out here who thought that this team wouldn't be that bad this year. Not to name any names. Where's that guy? I think he might be right there. So the Philadelphia Flyers this week went 0-3-1. And what's even crazier is that is now their 10th straight loss. This is a team that has a coach like John Tortorella, who is not used to that kind of failure. And I am surprised he hasn't cracked the whip on some of these kids right now.
Yeah, but he is, but he also can because like this team have a lot of injuries right now.
The roster's bad.
The roster's bad already, and they have these injuries to like Konechny and stuff like that. So if you take these guys out, they can't do anything. To be honest with you,
are you willing to finally admit to me that this team's going to be like a bottom 5 team yet?
Oh yeah, they are.
Okay,
yeah,
okay, good.
They are. But I thought John Tortorella's spike would have maybe lasted a little bit longer in this, but I guess not.
Very short-lived.
Very short-lived.
Yeah,
I mean, Carter Hart, he's a great goaltender, don't get me wrong, but if you guys didn't sell him high, I'm sorry, but his value is nowhere as high now. So
yeah, no, I think Philadelphia, I would stay away from that team. And I think if the best interest for them is to probably at this point just try to rebuild, get rid of any players they can, and try to finish bottom 3 so they get one of those superstars this year in the draft.
Speaking of a team that's even worse, it would be the Anaheim Ducks. Man, this team sucks. Like, there's nothing else I can say about this team. Like, this is probably one of the worst teams in hockey. Is it?
It is the worst team right now in hockey.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I know this is the National Hockey League, but if you are playing the Anaheim Ducks with probably one of the best teams in the AHL right now, I have a good feeling that the AHL team could win.
It might be close. So what's crazy about the Ducks is that they're on this list for the biggest losers, but you could argue this was their best week of the year because this was the week where they got their first regulation win. It took 20 games to get their first regulation win. Just think about that. I can't even remember a time in my life that's happened for any team, even the really bad teams. Like, it's unreal. And they did beat the New York Rangers, which I think speaks more about how the Rangers messed up than that the Ducks did well. But this team is just kind of a mess, and it's very young. And I will say one thing, it has a lot of promise. This roster does have a great future, but this year is not going to be a good year for Ducks fans.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough year, but they do have a lot of very exciting young players coming out, like Drysdale. But I don't know. I don't really like Drysdale. Never have. But hey, yeah, he's one of the guys. Cam Fowler's looking good at least. That's a plus side, I guess.
Yeah, they're a good young core. Like Zegras is playing great.
Zegras is playing great.
I mean, there's still stuff to build upon for this team, and McTavish has been decent too. So I mean, there's hope there. There's hope, just not this year.
Yeah, and also on top of that, like John Gibson just doesn't look good
He's
at
clipped.
all.
I would be trying to flip that guy for anything I could get right now.
Yeah, I always wanted to like defend this guy for the longest time, but man, after seeing the last year and the year before and this year, how bad he is, no.
Do you think the Ducks could trade him and get maybe like a first round pick or something even at this point?
No.
I don't know. Maybe just off namesake, they could get like a second or
yeah,
a first.
maybe like a very desperate team. Like I don't know.
I don't know why he would want to wait through there. Why would he want to stick through that rebuild? This doesn't seem at his age. It doesn't seem right.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, he should be getting out of town soon. I think. I would expect it before the trade deadline.
Yep.
All right, and our final team on our losers of the week is going to be the New York Rangers, who went 1-2. Now, I know 1-2 doesn't sound that bad, but when you lose to the Ducks and give them their first ever regulation win of 2022-2023, you're going to end up on this list. And on top of that, their choke against the Oilers just made it even worse. This team led 3-0 against the Oilers this week, going into the third period, and choked and lost 4-3. Kind of unacceptable for a team of this caliber.
Yeah, when they went to the California teams and losing to those teams, I thought maybe this team just can't play in California. Maybe
too hot.
Maybe too hot. Maybe it's too hot down here. But maybe when they go back home to New York, they'll play a lot better. And then no, they were up 3-0. They just blew that 3-0 lead like that. Shesterkin looked so bad in some of those goals that he led up. The defense looked bad when Lindgren got out.
For me, the defense was the biggest liability for this team, which is funny because going into the season, I'd say this team had one of the better defenses overall. Like, I thought it was a pretty solid top six. They had to trade away Lundqvist because they didn't have enough room in their top six for him. So it's kind of odd that they're struggling this bad, but you can really see the true value of Ryan Lindgren because when he's not in that lineup blocking shots and throwing the body around, they really aren't the same team on defense.
Yeah, and I watched that game from front to back, and as of recording right now, the New York Rangers are outside the playoff spot right now. They're not even in.
Which is scary because me and Hohen both had them as the team that wins their division this year, so we're looking pretty bad.
Yeah, and in that game that they played against the Oilers, the goals that they were giving up, they were all from the point. Bouchard, 2 of the goals from the point.
I do still think they're going to rebound.
And even the Holloway goal was kind of like far. There was no one even covering it. So
yeah, I know. He had a bad week.
Bad
week. But I do think this team will recover.
They will. This is an extremely good team.
Top to bottom, too good of a roster.
Yeah, too good of a roster. They will rebound. I hope they find their game. I hope Shesterkin finds his game because I know they will.
I definitely don't think they're going to win the division anymore, though. I would like to completely say that I don't think that's
okay.
happening.
Who are you going to pick now? New York Islanders?
No, probably Carolina by the end of it. Honestly.
Carolina? Not your favorite?
New Jersey will be second. They'll be second.
Okay, I thought you were gonna like.
No. I can't overreact that much to the hot streak, but they're still looking good. So.
Okay.
But yeah, the Rangers, step it up, please.
Yeah.
All right, guys, and finally, I'm just gonna do a quick review on our rookie watch. I'm gonna go over 3 of the rookies that really stood out this week and just how great they were this week. And starting off, obviously, was Matty Beniers, who was our 3rd star of the week. The guy was 7 points in 3 games, but also he has just taken some big steps after he took that dry streak where he went like 6 games without scoring any points. And he looks like a very mature player. Something I really look for in these young kids is how they handle that adversity, and he handled it amazingly. And now he's on a good point streak again, and he's found his game. And his two-way game has gotten a lot better in these last 3 games as well. He's been back-checking harder, and just all around, he's been looking amazing. So Seattle has a real one here in Matty Beniers. And secondly, I have Matthias Michelli, the guy that Hohen recommended a few weeks ago for you guys on our fantasy special to pick up, because this guy is still just red hot. He played only 2 games this week, but he had 3 points, and he just looked awesome out there. And one of the bright spots for the Arizona Coyotes, which we know they're going to be a team that struggles this year, but he has definitely been quite the big positive for them. And lastly, another team that didn't play a lot this week, but one of their players really stood out to me, and that was Kent Johnson of the Columbus Blue Jackets. So he only played 2 games this week, but he had a goal and an assist for 2 points, and he's really starting to take over that role on that power play, and he's fitting in good with Johnny, which is going to be good because, I mean, we all see Johnny signed there for 8 years. You got to have that kind of chemistry, and this team needs a true center because they don't have a true number one center. You can't count Boone Jenner as a number one center, guys. They need a guy like Kent Johnson to work out, and so far, I would say he has worked out in the limited time that we've seen.
So that is all we have for this week's recap. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
All right, thanks, guys.
Take care. Bye.